Hey there, gang. It is time for another grading video, and this time out we will be looking at some Bronze Age Avengers. These are all about mid-grade, so if that is a touchy spot for you in your grading, or if you just want to get a feel for how I grade when I am grading books to sell for .comcomics, then hey, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghalla. My name is Duke, and this is a grading video. And as I said, these are mid-grades. These are all going to be around 5s, 6s, some lower, maybe a few a little higher. This top one, for instance, is a little lower. And I'm just going to jump right into it and give you a sense for how I grade a book. As I say mid-grade, a mid-grade book, a 6 or so, that's going to be a book that obviously looks handled, has some obvious defects, but still looks generally well cared for. Now, again, this top one here is going to be a bit of an exception because this one's a little nasty. And this one, you can see here that we've got a spine roll with also a little bit of a spine bend. So what's the difference? A spine roll is, think of it as kind of like tectonic plates kind of passing each other in the night with these same deleterious effects. And it usually comes from turning the pages back, folding the pages back when the book was read. And you can tell a spine roll because when you look, usually on the back side, you'll be able to see all of the pages. It's got a little bit of a spine bend as well in that it's bent up. And I think I've got a book here a little further down this is a good example. This one is a spine bend, not a rule. You can see there's a crease here. There's a bend, but if you turn it over and look, this edge is still pretty flat. You can't really see all of those pages. So that's more in the way of a spine bend as opposed to a spine roll. This one has a spine roll, although again a little bit of a bend as well. And some other obvious defects here. Now, obviously a spine roll, that's really for me, that's going to be probably at best a 4. Maybe a 4 or 5 if it's not too bad. But here we also have, along with the spine roll, a whole bunch of transverse creases. Transverse meaning they, not creases, but tears. And they go here and then all the way around. That's what I mean by transverse. So we've got several very large ones right in through there. And we've got this little corner clipped back here. And the cover gloss, now I tried to adjust the lighting so that it's not too oppressive for you, not too much reflection. But I do want you to be able to see the reflectivity here. And you can see just a little bit as I turn this under the light. So it's still got some reflectivity, but not a ton. Now on the back here, we've got, well, all kinds of problems. Now, I do want to say one thing. If at any point you see the camera kind of zoom in, that's going to be not because I'm trying to show you something up close. That's because I got my fat head in the camera and I cropped myself out. So, but we can see here we've got some scuffing. We've got no tears, no actual tears, but a big indent here. Up here at the top. We've got some indenting. We've got a dust shadow along the top here. Some light tearing here. Some indentations. That looks like a staple, like something else where the staple is resting on top of it. We've got some, and I hope you can see these, some scratches here. It almost looks like somebody was cutting something on top of this book and maybe cut through it a little bit. So you've got some like this and then a couple like that. There's a couple more down here at this edge. They don't go all the way through the paper. They're just kind of scratches in the paper. But it looks like a knife. It doesn't look like a cat claw or anything like that. And then we have some, now I'm going to assume by the general overall condition of this book, these are not tape pulls, but they're just paper shears. You can see the top level of the paper is gone so that you can actually see the threads underneath. And of course the color's gone. And you get some up here. And then there's a little bit more right in here. So I'm going to call this book a 3.5. a 3, 5. And I'll put down the defects so that the person who does the listing will know to add that to the description. And I do want to put that spine roll on there. We do want to describe that in the description for the book, because when this sits on a scanner, it may not be as evident. You know, the back, we scan both the front and the back. The back will be pretty evident because you can see those pages like I said at the outset. But, some people just look at the front, especially the people that bid on their phone, and they may not see that roll. We want them to be able to see that. Or if they can't see it, if it's something they can't see, we want to make sure they know it's there. So we have done that. We'll move on to Avengers number 82. And that last one, by the way, number 80, that was the first appearance of Red Wolf. This one has a nice clip art Daredevil here on the front. So what do we got here? On this one, we've got a crease right here and a bunch of blunting and indenting along this edge. A little bit of a tear right there. And then some more blunting along here. So this got jammed up quite a bit on this side. The spine is not that bad, and in fact there are very few ticks, a little bit around the staples, but otherwise not too bad. The back cover looks okay. Now, one thing I neglected to do on that first book, I didn't look at the pages, I didn't open it up. That's because I had actually already done that. I kind of looked these books over a little bit before I started. So I didn't want to get taken by surprise by anything and then have you in the comments, you missed this, which I've had before. But I did neglect to actually on camera look inside. You want to judge the paper quality, and that book contributing to the 3.5 was the fact that the pages were kind of off-white. And you check the staples, and so we're going to do that here on this book. We'll make sure everything's complete, that nothing's been cut out. And the pages are, they're okay. They're not nice and white, but they're kind of off-white. And the staples look good, nice and tight. And here you can see a good example of this period at Marvel. The centerfold had half pages and then ads on the lower half. And DC tried to do this a couple of years ago, and people, channels on YouTube absolutely lost their shit. It was pretty amazing. And then we also want to always check all the pages, but also check your front, because if something's written, that's usually where they'll do it. And so sometimes you can actually find a creator signature. I have found that from time to time. So this one I'm going to call a 5. I'm going to call this one a 5. It's not so bad to be a 4.5, I don't think. If any of these blunts here were, an actual tear that was, we got a few that are in the, 1/8 of an inch, but if there were any that were longer, we could be a 4.5. If there were a few, if these blunts weren't quite so bad, or if this fold wasn't here, we might be able to go up to a 5.5. Don't know that this book otherwise would go much higher than that, especially with this little bit of a dust shadow here along the top. So I am going to call that book a 5. That's a 5. A very good fine. And nothing really worth noting here. Now I noticed here on camera, I'm not going to get through this whole stack, but I did notice here on camera that I was a little close and couldn't quite show you quite as much of the book as I wanted to, so we'll do that, and that'll give us a little extra breathing space here so that I can show you, especially when I open up the book, you can see more of it. All right, well, let's keep right on trucking then. This is Avengers 83, but technically the first appearance of Valkyrie. It's actually the Enchantress in disguise, and so for that reason, Defenders 4 will often be described as the first appearance of Valkyrie. It's the first appearance of the actual Valkyrie, but this one, with her name and likeness, actually appeared first. So You know how you'll have like first cameo appearance and first full appearance? This is kind of the same thing. Your first visual appearance and then first real appearance, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, this book has a little bit, it's got a crease running along, right here along the edge. Don't know how well you can see that. So the page was folded back when it was read, but not enough to create a spine roll or anything. We've got some blunting up here along this top corner. And a little bit of blunting here on the edge, likely, you know, where they were holding the pages. The back, we've got a little bit of tanning down here at the bottom. You can see that, again, that kind of indentation here. It's kind of more of a wave where, and you can see kind of a little bit of a spine roll here on the edge if you look at it edge on. I don't know how well you can see that in the light. The pages are off-white, maybe just starting to tan a little bit, but it's complete. Everything is there. Let's find that centerfold. There it is, with the half ads. That's just a very nice John Buscema wasp there. But I'm going to give this one, I think I'm going to give this one a 6. Now, even with this little bit of a indentation here and the wave on the back, there's no tearing, no creasing. Just a few kind of rippley creases here on the edge, but nothing that actually breaks color. Well, it's easy because there's no color, but you know, nothing that actually cuts into the paper. But if we didn't have all this blunting here at the top, which is fairly heavy, I would go with a 6.5 with this book. Or potentially if we, you know, just had this and then not any of this, or at least not as bad. This book is, it could be a 6.5. But I think with the paper quality being what it is, and these other things, I think I'm going to go with a 6 on that. So you let me know in the comments below if you're following along. Now, unfortunately, with my internet speed here in Western Maine, I'm not really able to upload. I mean, it takes a half-hour video will take 7 hours to upload. So I'm not really able, and that's at, you know, medium quality 720. I'm not really able to upload high quality 1080, but I hope you get enough of a look. And with the look that you are able to get, let me know in the comments below if you agree with the grade, if you think I'm way off base. So here we have Avengers 84. We've got a pretty heavy crease right here. Some tearing around that staple. Again, these probably all came from the same collection, and it was a fold back person. There's gonna be a better name for it than that. Somebody who folds back the pages when they read it. Got to be a name for that. We got to come up with a better name. We got some bending here, and this bending is probably it was in a box stored vertically, probably, but not really tight and not with backing boards. So that's what has created that right there. That's just sitting on its own weight. We do have a little tear here. I think hopefully you can see this right there, about 1/4 inch. And here we've got a vertical tear. It doesn't go, it breaks. This is interesting. It does go all the way through the cover, but doesn't cut the edge. That's weird. Oh, weird. And then we have a crease up here at the top. Oh, now this isn't so good. Now you can see, just like that last book, it's browning a little bit down at the bottom. I shouldn't say browning, more tanning, but it was brittle enough that this little triangle piece came out. So with that big of a piece missing, and this is about, I need a better ruler. That's about 3/4 inch wide, and not very deep at all, but I think that's going to make this, otherwise this isn't a bad looking book. It's got decent eye appeal. But with these two tears, this sort of 1/4 inch vertical tear and then that, well, about 1/8 of an inch rip right in there. With the bending and this piece out. Now let's just take a quick look inside. I'm leaning towards a 4.5. If the paper quality was really good, maybe I would say, well, it's a 5. But nope. Nope. So, and you can see the inside is starting to tan along the bottom as well. Can you see the difference in the color of the paper here versus up here? So I think I'm going to end up calling that a 4.5. It's a shame because it's, you know, at first glance, it's a fairly nice looking book. But I think that's something that somebody, if somebody got that, they would be fairly happy with it as a 4.5. Here is Avengers number 85. And what do we got going on here? This one has pretty good eye appeal. We've got here at this corner, blunting and a couple of folds like that. Got a small little divot out right there. And this is sort of blunted along here. Again, where somebody was holding it as they were reading it. We've got a few spine tears, but not too bad. Some little cluster right there in the corner box. Some fairly heavy tanning at the bottom of this one. And I tend to find that Marvel books, Silver and early Bronze Age, tend to be tanned up. And here in the back cover, we got a little chunk out here and a little rip there, so that's all fold blunted. Marvels tend to brown up more than the DCs, at least the ones that I see. Now that could be, it could be a function of the paper quality. It could also just be a function of the relative conditions, the collections that we get in, you know, the people who are willing to let their Marvels go. Maybe other people who weren't really storing them particularly well. So this one I am going to call, even with these two little chunks, yeah, no, I got to go a 5. I was flirting with a 5.5 because it looks pretty nice, but because we've got these two little divots out, and granted they're not particularly big divots, but between that and, you know, some people with this tanning right here would even go down to maybe a 4.5, and maybe I should. But I mean, besides the tanning, which is just age, see, it's kind of a difference between an age you've got really kind of three kinds of defects. You've got handling defects, those are your rips, your tears, your bumps, your bruises. Your aging defects, which are, you know, loss of cover gloss, paper quality. And then you've also got your manufacturing defects. And those are, you know, aging defects are graded generally, unless the book's actually brittle, less harshly than handling defects. And then manufacturing defects, rather it's, you know, a bindery tear or you kind of a crushed spine on a square bound book maybe, those are judged less harshly still. But I think I'm going to end up going with a 5 on that. Going to call that a 5. Now this one at first glance looks pretty good. This is Avengers number 86. We got a very small chip out right here. Am I on camera where you can see it? Right there. Very small chip out. Oh, and we do have a corner out right here. Some blunting right in there and here. A little bit here. The spine is not bad. Very few tears. But again, you have to look closely. When the spine is all white and there's no color to break, a little harder to see those tears. A little bit of browning down here at the bottom, or tanning I should say, but not nearly as bad as the last issue. We got a bend up here. Oh, look at this. We have the Statement of Ownership and Circulation, total paid circulation, which is newsstand sales and subscriptions. 12 months prior to this, average 217,394. So better than twice the best-selling comic book today. And then the issue nearest to filing, which would have been the issue on sale in September 1970, that book had a circulation of 169,573. Quite a little drop-off right there. That's probably, is that because of the increase to 15 cents? No, I think it was earlier than that. Not sure why that book tanked. So, not too much going on here in the back, which is a good thing. You know, less things that attract our attention, the better. Let's find that centerfold without opening the book too wide. Just enough to make sure that the staples are there and complete and tight. We do have some fairly heavy browning there. So I think I'm going to call this a 5.5. Now, technically, some people will tell you with that little corner out that it can't be, well, some people will tell you more than a 4.5, but it's just a very small, and it is actually out. It's not just that it's folded back, it is actually out. But I think I can go with a 5.5, and frankly, with the overall condition of the book, even with this little corner out and this little chip right here, if it wasn't for the paper quality and the tanning, on the covers and the pages, I might even be tempted to go with a 6 on this. Yeah, probably not. Probably, well, don't know. But I think I am going to call it a 5.5. Here's the origin of Black Panther, T'Challa, Avengers number 87. This isn't a bad looking book. Not a bad looking book at all. So, we do have some spine stressing here, especially around this staple. Otherwise, not too bad, although again, here's an example right here. I don't know how well you can see that because it's, there's no color there to break. We have a pretty long fold right here, a pretty heavy fold with a little 1/8 of an inch tear. Other than that, not too shabby. Some indents in the cover. And I don't know if I hold this in the light just right, if you'll be able to see them. But right in here, there's some indentations. Oh, and we have, fairly heavy. I'll get it on the camera, you can see it. Fairly heavy fold right here. And now, I said that I had sort of looked these books over before so I wouldn't get caught by surprise, but I guess I wasn't looking very closely because I did not notice this writing here. TOTEN ALS 7447. I wonder if that's an old style phone number, maybe? Don't know. Did they write anything in the back cover? No, the back cover looks fairly clean. We've got a little 1/8 of an inch tear right there. And that fold that we saw on the front cover, obviously that went through the whole book because here it is in the back as well. With some blunting right there. See, it's here and then also right there. So that whole thing kind of, and actually we can see that that fold goes almost all the way down through to where we saw the indent down here. Almost looks like somebody started to fold it up to stick it in their back pocket and then thought better of it. All right. Now these pages are pretty good. These are some fairly white pages. And these, you see we've got some holes here. See if I can hold this just right here. And here, can you see those holes? And they go through just about every page. That, I think, is something that happened on the press. I can't think of any way that that would happen, because they're not, see, they don't go through all the pages, and they don't go through the covers. It looks to me like something happened on the press. Got stuck on something as the pages were rolling around. So we won't judge that too harshly, if at all. But these pages are fairly white. These are not bad. These are not bad at all, and the covers are fairly white. See that tear there from the other side. So how are we going to judge this bad boy? I think I'm also going to call this a 5. You know, overall, it looks okay. Your biggest thing is this fold right here with that little tear, some blunting, some folding here that you almost don't see at first. But the pages look good. The back cover looks decent. And then this writing, and it's like, okay, is that writing enough to drag it all the way down to a 4.5? And some people would say yes. And some people might tell you that with writing on the cover, you know, it can't be above a 3.5 or a 4. But I think I'm going to call that a 5. I think I'm going to call that a 5. And even though it's fairly obvious, somebody might miss it, because you have all these other hatch marks, and it was written in red ink, which is pretty close to this shading orange color in the back. So somebody looking at especially if they're using their phone, somebody might miss that online. So we're going to put that in the description as well.
Writing in red.
And then hopefully somebody won't be able to get this and say, I didn't know, I didn't see it. Well, it was in the description as well as obvious in the picture. All right, where are we for time? I don't want these to go too long. I think it's going to be the last book that we'll do in this batch. The last book in the batch. Now this one has a bend as well. And maybe if I hold it like this, you can see that bend. Can you see that? Now it's not really a spine roll. Well, a little bit. You can see some of the pages here. We do have some tanning all along the edges. And we do have some stress marks. We also have some spine wear. So, you know, that's rubbed up against something and rubbed off the color. Some blunting here. And we have some vertical creases. A little bit of blunting, color rub there. Although that could actually be the ink not really taking that well. And because a lot of the cover gloss is gone, you can spot that a little more easily. Otherwise, things look okay. So I think I'm going to give that one a 5 as well. Film 5, very good find. And without the spine bend, this could have been a 6, but it's a pretty big spine bend. Now, you could buy this book, put it on a hot press, and because there really isn't a lot here for spine tears, you could probably take that bend right out, and you could get this book up to I don't think it'll go to a 6.5, but you could get it from a 5 to a 6, maybe a 6.5, depending. If you could resist the urge to try and do a color touch there. But I'm going to call it a 5 because it's a pretty heavy bend. I don't think I can get to a 5.5. If we didn't have this much tanning here, and kind of also on the pages, the back covers, then I would go to a 5.5. But and somebody who's really strict might call that a 4.5, but I'm going to call that I'm going to call that a 5. That's it. That's all we're going to do for this grading video. So please come back again next time. I'm trying to do an unboxing video in the morning, a grading video at night, and then some kind of maybe news or thought bubble or instructional video of some kind in the afternoon. And then I'm going to try and get into reviews because, about 18, 19, 20 months ago when I started this channel, the whole point was to do reviews. I still haven't posted a single review yet. But the grading is fun and the unboxings are super fun. And so anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Any thoughts? Leave them in the comments below. Please do like, share, subscribe. And until next time, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.